Welcome, everyone, to episode 288 of Dial the Gate, the Stargate Oral History Project. My name is David Reed. I appreciate you joining me for this episode. We have Colin Cunningham, Major Paul Davis of Stargate SG-1, here with us today. How are you, sir?
Doing well, David. It's good to see you again, buddy.
It's good to see you again, my friend. If you are in the live chat and you have questions for Colin, get them over to my team, and they will be sure to include them in my side so I can see them before we wrap up. Colin, I had to have you on once I got a chance to take a look at your new film. It's called He Never Left, and it is horror plus thriller. Is that a fair description?
Yeah, look, I see it as more of a thriller with a little horror.
Okay.
I mean, look, technically it's kind of it's a thriller, but it's wrapped up in the horror kind of slasher genre. But there's not too much slasher. It's not like anybody's getting their throat ripped out and somebody's eating it in front of them, you know. So it's more of it was James Morris and Michael Balfe. But James came up with this idea. He said, what would happen if we kind of merged Friday the 13th with Hitchcock's Rear Window? And the idea really struck me. I was like, wow, this is cool, because it was basically about a felon, a bad guy who's on the run from the law. And he's got a hole up in a creepy old motel out in the middle of
Norman
nowhere.
Bates style.
Yeah, and he's got to hang out there for 2-3 days, waiting for his ride to take him out. But he can't leave. He can't use the phone. He can't let anybody see him. He can't let anybody know that he's there. And of course, strange things begin to happen. He hears noises next door. What he thinks is a murder, and of course, he can't call the police. He can't do anything about it, and he's basically a guy that's kind of trapped. Hey, David, if you don't mind, people are probably wondering.
Yes, what is the story here? Before I play the trailer for the film,
yeah. So
what
right
happened
now,
to you, Colin?
Right now, I'm working with a wonderful director by the name of Rob York, and we're shooting Curse of Crom 2, which is awesome. I don't know if anybody saw Curse of Crom 1, but it's fantastic. Anyway. So last night, it shouldn't have been a stunt. I was trying to get into a door, and I hear screaming. I'm trying to get through the door, and I had to fake it. No, I had to fake it because it was somebody's home, so we didn't have a breakaway door. I couldn't even really hit it that hard, and it's hard to fake stuff. You need a little bit of something in there, and then fake it. But anyway, because I was trying to do it safely and not break the door, I ended up breaking my head. So my head went right into the crease of the door frame, and bam! And it lit
bulged.
up. Oh my God, it was like a ping pong ball immediately sprung out, and I thought, uh-oh, we're in trouble. So I iced it for like 3-4 hours yesterday. Unfortunately, they had other things to shoot. But man, it could have destroyed the day. Anyway, so I don't have any makeup on it or anything. I thought, today's my day off.
It looks good. It's very manly.
Thought I'd let it just chill, but if anybody's wondering, that's what that is.
I got to know, is that shot in the shot, or was that going to be in the movie, or did you have to go and do it again? It's so
weird. Maybe not, because what's weird about when things actually happen in a real way, they look awful for camera. You don't even notice them on camera. Like somebody's throwing a punch, you've got to literally, if you do that, and you pull, that's nothing. That's a punch.
Yeah.
You got to fist hit the face, and then the punch has got to go all the way through. So it's all the camera stuff. So it's weird how sometimes if you do something on set that's totally real, a lot of times it's like it didn't look real. It looked fake.
Well, I appreciate you taking one for the team there.
Yeah, baby, right here, man. Right here.
What is it? What do they call it? It's hazard, just job hazard. So I want to show off the trailer for He Never Left, if that's awesome. Okay. All right. Yes, so please. we're gonna be right back, and you guys just hang tight and check this out.
I'm looking for a room.
How many guests?
Just one.
He's not that smart. We'll catch him.
Stop it!
So where is he? Maybe Paleface is back.
So what the hell happened?
Gabe. You know what? Look, I take responsibility for my choices in life, okay? I know what consequences are, but it's a two-way street. Something happened.
What did you do?
What was I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? I'm supposed to get on the phone, call 911?
Harley Phelps, U.S. Marshals, come to the door.
So he killed her?
Oh, hello.
No turning back.
The password for the Wi-Fi? No turning back.
Who are you?
Warrant arrest! It's not Paleface.
Well. I hope everyone enjoyed that, because I just got to see this thing a couple of days ago, and I'm not the biggest slasher fan. I like horror in terms of thriller. I like screwing around with up here, and that's what this movie does. Colin, what was it like to go through that process? Tell us a little bit about this film.
It was
a little bit more.
No, it was really, really intense.
I bet.
Well, the whole thing has been such a ride, David, because I was living in New York, just before all the COVID crazy stuff happened and lockdowns and all that stuff. And New York was getting a little weird even before then. But I could see the cloud coming, and I thought, no, I am not going to hang around for this party, So I had family in Utah, and it was always a fantastic place to visit. And it turned out, and I thought, well, I'll wait out all this crazy stuff out there. And while I was out there, I just assumed that my career would have just totally flatlined. New York shut down, LA shut down, and where I was living, I maybe put on a mask maybe twice in 3 years. Both times were at Costco.
There's no one there. Yeah, there's wide open spaces.
Yeah, well, it's not that wide open. They just, it was like it was. But I was doing tons. All of a sudden, I got back doing theater again. And it was great. And the schools were open, and everybody went to work, and nobody was cutting themselves or killing themselves. Nobody went bankrupt. We all just kind of lived our lives and got through it anyway. But I assumed in terms of just work, that was it, right? And yet, you start meeting talented people because they're everywhere. You just kind of think New York, LA is like the hub of everything, and it's not. There's a lot of people have left those places because they got sick and tired of it. They couldn't take it anymore. Anyway, so all that said, I was introduced to a guy by the name of James Morris and Michael Balliff from a company called Witching Season. And James and Michael, they had this script called He Never Left, and they do horror stuff. They do Halloween slasher horror stuff. They love it to death. It's just the greatest thing ever. But when I read the script, I didn't see a horror film. I saw something else. And it really, really intrigued me. It was just one of the victims. And I spoke with James and I said, let's see if we can develop this a little bit more, because the idea is fantastic. There's a guy stuck in a room and he can't get out, and there's stuff going on, and he thinks he's going nuts. And of course he comes with his own amount of baggage. But as an actor, man, it was really something to sink your teeth into. I'm certainly grateful for Stargate or anything I've ever done in the past. But
Major Davis is only so many notes, though.
Well, look, I thrived. The great thing about Stargate is that it was good. It wasn't crap. But a lot of times we get hired as an actor, you get hired to dignify crappy material. And even when you get some good material, you might get squeezed into a little box. You're the lawyer, you're the whatever. Whereas I like working in characters that are nothing like me. John Pope from Falling Skies or or Blood Drive or TC from Preacher. You know, it's like that's where I love to absolutely disappear. And even then, it might be a guest shot, it might be a recurring. It's usually a smaller role. This was an opportunity to actually star in a movie, to be the lead in the film, and to well, you know, carry it, to see if I had what it took to take something from the beginning, the middle, and to the end. And that's a challenge you're not often afforded as an actor. You come in to support, you know, whoever they've hired to play that guy. Whereas I got an opportunity to play that guy, and I also got an opportunity to contribute to the material, which is just such a testament to these two filmmakers. Because they could have said no, but instead they invited me in to contribute, because they haven't made many films. I think it was just one film before this.
You got to collaborate.
Yeah. Well,
this.
look, sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. It's so weird. Every film is so different. I mean, if you're working with Mamet, you know, it's like, I'll just take it as it is. But sometimes you can bring something to it, you know. So anyway, I just saw this as an incredible opportunity, but I didn't see it as a horror film or a slasher film at all. I saw this as a tale of the wages of sin and atonement and redemption and sacrifice and grace, and just, I know, a lot of big themes, big concepts. Because you've got a guy he's not a good guy, and he brings his own hell to this place. So it's almost like, instead of, you know, the high school cheerleader and her boyfriend who run out of gas, this is people who are already in hell, and yet they end up knocking on Satan's door, you know. So
yeah, you've got someone who's not pure evil, who's done his share of dark things, confronted with true malevolence.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and to see if we could find a way within the structure, the format of a slasher horror flick, to see if we can find some kind of redemption for this guy, some kind of atonement, some kind of path, some kind of journey where he can, I don't know, become a little better, even if it's just this much. So anyway, just as an actor, it was something, man, I could just sink my teeth into it and do a deep dive. It's not often you get to do that. I'm not a method guy. I don't trip out, but sometimes you'll get material and you're just like, man, there's no bottom to this. I can keep going. And it becomes an exploration. Anyway, so look, I'm proud of it. I really, really am. And the fact that these guys, I mean, we made it. We shot it. It was like 6 days, David. Nothing. I didn't think that could be done, to tell you the truth. And
no, not with how much is in that film. I don't know how you did it in 6 days.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, look, audience people, like, seriously, at the end of the day, you either like it or you don't. The movie's either crap or it's not. It doesn't matter if you had a crew of 300, a $500 million budget, or $2. The movie either stands on its own or it doesn't. That's just that. But having done this so much for so many decades, boy, man, I mean, because look, you can go out and see a $6 million movie, a $30 million movie, and walk out saying that sucks. Mm-hmm. But to make that but it's a movie, it's still a real movie. But if you can do that with 2 quarters and a corn dog, man, and you can still have it. Look, somebody's going to like it, somebody's not going to like it. But I do that with $100 million movies, you know. And the really cool thing when you're working in a small budget is everybody's hungry. Everybody really wants to be there. Nobody's there for the paycheck. Nobody. So you're there because you really want to be there. And we all did. And it was just a handful of people. And we all stayed at the motel too. So everybody had a room. I was sleeping in the room we shot in.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah, totally. And I just take whatever clothes I had, and I just put it in the closet. So it was great. It was such an incredible experience to just spend time in this, you know, you're living on the set, because the set is a real place. So it was just wonderful as an actor, and to do something different, you know, and something that I can just creatively sink my teeth into, because you don't often get the opportunity to do it. So I'm just blessed, you know. I
was surprised at the amount of range that you got to portray in this film. I've had the privilege of seeing you in a few different things, even live. Like I've said before, you gave me and a friend nightmares that next night, because it was the experience was so intense. But with this, you really got to play with levels here. You are manic in some scenes. I think something tells me you enjoy playing unhinged and manic, because there was a lot of that here. This guy legitimately came unglued for very legitimate reasons, and then got to be more quiet, closer and introspective as the movie went on, before pounding it again. And it was an ending that I did not expect, and I genuinely loved the film. I'm not going to pretend to say that just to promote it. I loved this movie. Partly because of the limited scale in which you had to do it. $100 million films, they're going to look great, but their characters don't necessarily have substance, and this one does.
Yeah, no, story. I don't care if you're in one room or wherever you are, how many locations. If you've got a story that's gripping, the location almost becomes secondary, because it's about the people that are going through this thing. But, oh God, what was I going to say? What were you just saying that you started with?
Your range was
okay,
from manic to quiet over the course of the film. And it has like a very clear sine wave to it.
Yeah, no, and it's interesting because often actors, they'll do something, people say, wow, I never knew you could do that or whatever. And it's not because they couldn't do it, it's just they never get a part where they can do it. And I'll tell you, that's across the board, because most stuff you see, nobody's really doing that. Not that to that extent. But what was also really cool about this, and this is how I wanted it, oftentimes you'll get a movie and you'll have the quiet guy, and then a bunch of things happen and he snaps and he just starts kicking ass, or he loses it, right? And he becomes that guy. Whereas I wanted to start with a guy who was already like that. He's paranoid. He's a felon. He's probably an ex-junkie. He's actually accidentally killed somebody. And he brings that guilt into the room, and then weird things start happening.
Literally.
And he's haunted by this experience, in addition to things he's not even sure what's going on, because is it just in his head? What the hell's going on? But by the end, and I told James this, I said, when we get to the end, I want him to be like a Zen monk. Just boom. Just bring it into complete and total silence. And that's his arc. He basically goes from a really bad guy, not an evil guy, but he's most certainly
a person who's made bad choices.
Yeah, certainly bad choices. Maybe had a couple of not good things happen to him earlier in life,
which we hear about.
Yeah, which is cool. But I just wanted him by the end, and I don't want to give anything away, but there's an opportunity for him in the film to. He's got an opportunity to leave, but he realizes to leave, to go down that road, is to go down the road he's always gone down, and yet that's his exit, and he can't. Well, I don't want to give anything away, but there's just, anyway, you just don't see that in a typical horror flick, and again, I never saw it as a typical horror flick. And it's interesting. And look, there's some people absolutely love it. They're like, some of the horror fans out there are like, oh God, thank God for this, because they're so used to the typical cookie cutter, and it's just disposable people, and they're all Xerox copies. They're all just copies of copies of copies of copies. Whereas this one is definitely not that. And it takes balls to do what they've done. Some of the critiques is like, look, this isn't a horror movie. There's not enough blood. There's not enough bodies. The body count on this film, there's hardly anybody at all. So, and okay, that's fine. But what I appreciate about it is that that it's not that for the sake of that. There's a story about people, and they find themselves in this situation. And how to use this horrible series of events that transpires to change, or to, I don't know, be enlightened, even if it just be for the last 10 minutes of your life. It won't be like the first 40 years. The last 30 minutes of this guy's life is probably the first time he's ever felt free. and not clean, but
There's
He's a blank-
absolution.
yeah,
I think
he's like-
there's
yeah,
the Gabe. The character's name is Gabe. He has an opportunity to make choices when the chips are truly down and someone is truly backed into a corner. They have two ways to go, and we see what he does. And there, it was a very satisfying character arc that I just relished watching you in. So,
well, I loved it, man. I really do. And thanks for watching it, David. Because look, it's also weird. It's like, hey, you know, I'm doing a movie or whatever. It's like, you ask somebody to watch a movie, you know, it's like saying, hey, can I leave my anvil in your kitchen for the next 6 weeks? Yeah, sure, man. That's great. Sure, it's awesome. We love having an anvil in the middle of the living room.
it's got that kind of feel to it for sure.
And also, look, I mean, I've also done a lot of movies, and they suck, man. They're fun to do. I mean, I'm an actor. You show up, you're having a great time, and sometimes it's just for the money or what have you, and that's your job. But other times you're able to do something, and this is why you chose this life path, is for a chance to get something like this, and then a prayer that if you do okay, and that if you do okay, the movie, you know, in the end doesn't suck, you know. So it's nice to, and again, it's not even a matter, you still can like it or you may not like it, but it doesn't suck.
At least you tried.
Yeah, well,
and in some cases,
you know what I mean? Yeah, it's nice because just sometimes it's like sometimes things just suck. Whereas I think if you don't like it, you know, there'll be reasons you don't like it. You know, I've seen movies I'm like, I hated it, but it was awesome.
I'm glad that they did it. Yeah, glad that they tried it. And then there are those where it's like, you know, this was a really great premise. I would love to see the premise again, but this one was executed poorly. But the idea is good.
Yeah.
So this one, I think, I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. I think the poster does it a disservice from what people think that it really is. I know that they were really pushing the horror before the thriller, but this to me is thriller before horror, and it is both of those. I can't wait to watch it again, frankly. And where can people see it now? It had its theatrical premiere before Halloween because it's a Halloween-themed film.
It's a limited. I'm not entirely sure. I have to assume, you know, there's one in LA, New York, Chicago kind of thing. So it did come out on November 1st, but it's November 5th. When is November 5th? Is that tomorrow?
That is going to be Election Day, my friend, Tuesday.
Wow. There's timing for
right?
you. No, it's
go
so
vote
funny.
and then go watch this.
It makes me think. I mean, naturally, as you may know, I was blessed to work with Kevin Costner on Horizon 1 and 2, and of course, it didn't do that well, and it's unfortunate. Again, but it's the way it is, right? You can make a movie for $2 and it blows up, and you can make a movie for $500 million and it doesn't. So you never know because it's just movies too.
I liked it. My folks and I, we saw it. We played Spot Colin for 2.5 hours, so it was a lot of fun.
But what's interesting is that when that film came out, again, the timing not so good because it was during that presidential debate with Trump and Biden, that one. Well, I think there only was one, but it was that one. And that's like driving a Ford Bronco, a white Ford Bronco, right through the middle of your movie.
White Ford Bronco.
You know, so like just a bit of bad luck. Yeah. So anyway, but that said, the good thing is that it is a little film. You know, it's a little Halloween slasher kind of movie. Again, I think it's a little bit more than that. It's not just that, but it's not a giant, mega epic. Right. But yeah, so it comes out on November 5th. You can stream it, you can rent it, buy it, and all that kind of wonderful stuff, pretty much everywhere. And then it'll branch out from there, I suppose, go to various, streaming services and what have you. But I'm happy for it because it's interesting. I was blessed. I was actually invited to go to Cannes with Horizon, and when I was over there, He Never Left was a part of the market because there's as many films as there are in the festival. There's another 1,000 films at the market. Wow. And that's where distributors go to buy and sell and all that kind of stuff. So I was in Cannes and I had 2 movies. So it was super cool, man. Super, super cool.
Let me play the clip that I have from the show from the film for everybody. We'll be right back.
New details are emerging tonight about a tragic hit-and-run accident that left one teenager dead and an entire community in mourning. 17-year-old Chad Leland, a senior at Northridge High, was hit and killed at work by an employee trying to flee the scene after stealing a large sum of cash. All attempts to resuscitate the victim were unsuccessful, and the victim died at the scene. The suspect, 43-year-old Gabriel Gaspari, who is currently on federal probation for prior gun charges, remains at large but is now wanted for murder. Law enforcement wouldn't give any details on the status of the investigation, but stated they are working closely with the U.S. Marshals to apprehend Gaspari. Anyone with further information on his whereabouts is strongly encouraged to call police immediately, as he is to be considered armed and extremely dangerous. Back to you, Jordan.
That lamp plays. That lamp is almost an actor in itself in this movie. Let's just put it that way.
Well, I'll tell you, I thought it was a brilliant device. James, it evolved and what have you, but originated with James Morris, the director, and I think it was utilized maybe once in the script. And I said, wait a second, we can
leverage
use
this.
It's a great device because again, we're stuck in a room. How do you build tension? Even if it be small or whatever, we got to build the tension. So for anybody that sees the film, there's a lamp and there's a situation with a lamp. And it's what I love about it is that it's not unbelievable. It's like, it's like, well, the toilet's stuffed up or the lamp's got the thing or the phone. And how do you incorporate these things to ratchet up the tension? And it's funny because one of the more, say, tense moments of the film involves a lamp. And it's like, what? It is comical, but because it's possible, the tension is still there. But I mean, it was an utterly ridiculous kind of idea. And it's like, this is great.
There were a couple of things going on in the movie just like that. The other one for me that I personally resonate with, because I deal with this every day, the cell phone that you have only has reception in the bathroom on the toilet against the window, and so exactly. So he can receive calls and other in the room, but he can't communicate with anyone unless he's standing on the freaking toilet. And there are things that are like that in life that get leveraged as a plot device in this film, and it's things like that where it's like, I've been in that kind of situation before, where I have to make a call, especially in this case, that's his only communication with the outside world. And it doesn't work.
And it's also like, it's the only seat in the motel room. So it's, you know what I mean? So
that's true.
It's kind of, it's pathetic.
It's
so symbolic of this guy's life. And it's like, that you're a king on that throne. It's like, it's just the worst, just the absolute worst,
Would you work with these filmmakers again? Oh
God, in a heartbeat.
You see potential there for them. They're still pretty early on in their careers, right?
They're such great guys. I think, I really fell in love with the both of them because James, the director, he's a cop. He's a police officer. That's what he does for a living. But he's so passionate. He loves movies, and the same with Michael Balfe. And they partnered up to create this Witching Seasons film. And they'll do little shorts or they'll do audiobooks, some really, really wicked stuff. But and they made a film called They Live Inside Us. And it was that turned me on to these guys because I was trying to get a film made. And of course, you're going from 3 million to 1,700,000, 300,000. Can't do it, but 100,000. I don't know if I can do it. And somebody said, these guys have made a film called They Live Inside Us for $10,000. And I'm like, yeah, okay, sure, you can do that. It's not a movie, it's not any good, and it looks like crap. And it was a guy by the name of Adam Mast at the Electric Theater in St. George. He said, no. He says, it's a movie, check it out. So I'm like, okay. Because I was looking to see how cheap I could make my film, and I watched this film. And of course, there's no stars in it, but it looked like a movie, it sounded like a movie, and it had a beginning, a middle, and an end. And I keep waiting for the eye roll. There it is, 10 grand, geez, It never happened.
Wow, you couldn't see the seams in it.
No, it went to black, and I'm like,
Wow.
that was a movie. And
Yeah.
they did it for $10,000. So that opened up the door. I could see the potential. It was like, if you can make that movie with me, or not me, or just with some actors that come from an acting background, this is a no-brainer. This is a no-brainer. So and it was James. He said, look, I said, you're doing anything, you let me know. And I don't know, 6-8 months later, he sent me he said, I got this thing as a convict, and he's holed up in this motel, and the pale face killer and all that. You gave me the pitch. And then when I read it, I'm like, you got this is cool. Because I loved it. Because look, there was nothing for me horror wise to do. It's built into the cake. So I just thought, I'm gonna hit this character. I'm gonna play it real. I'm gonna play it real. And Jessica Staples, I actually recommended her. She plays Carly, my partner in it, and I recommended her to James, and she's fantastic. And we rehearsed for, oh God, I don't know, maybe 7-8 weeks, couple of months before even showing up. So
you really got familiar with one another even more.
Yeah, because the relationship had to be there. And when you
It's
show
tense.
up, and also there's no rehearsing.
Yeah.
There's no time. So we showed up, and it was like, all right, let's run one. Action. Boom, 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 boom. I mean, it was on. And James was just like, okay, let's put a camera here. Let's put a camera here. And let's capture it. Let's just capture this. It was kind of like a Cassavetes kind of thing. Just go. And Michael Balliff, who was the DP, producer, DP, and camera operator, man, you want to talk about instincts, because a lot of this stuff was live, and somebody would exit, he'd decide to stay. Other times, he just felt like, I'm going to go over here. So it really, man, it became that. There weren't two actors in the room. It was Michael Balliff was the third actor or the fourth actor, because he was the fly on the wall. He was the witness. He was the point of view of how he saw things. And man, he just did an incredible job. But we showed up ready to play. If anything, what was kind of interesting is that the truth, it was so played for truth that it became a little weird, because we're making a little Halloween slasher movie. We're not doing Arthur Miller. And I think one of the first original cuts, it's like, it was never supposed to really be that. It was supposed to be a fun, campy, spooky, and you got the guy and, kind of thriller. And instead, I went on my deep dive, and Jessica went on hers. And so the film had to kind of come up to support that.
Well, you've got themes that are bigger than the original nugget of the idea.
Yeah,
that you can plant and let grow.
No, totally. And then everybody, it was awesome, man. And they gave me so much. God, what a gift they gave me. So much latitude and be able to contribute. Because a lot of times, look, man, you'll show up on set and it's stand on the piece of tape, say your line, shut up, and then exit,
take your
camera
paycheck,
out.
thanks.
Yeah, or it's great, that's awesome, but they never cut the cord and let you just go. And also there's different genres and things like that, but that's why episodic television is hard, because you're looking for moments where you can do that. I was blessed on Falling Skies that they let me play. I'd go off book, I would improvise, I'd throw in whatever just came out, and I guess because it worked, enough times where they gave me some latitude, because that's how I like to work. I don't want to have any idea what I'm doing. And I mean that, like, I don't know what I'm doing. When I'm at my best, I'm not even there. And you'll have to tell me what I did, because I have no idea. No idea.
Why?
Oh, when you
Why is that? Where are you going?
well, it's no different than when you're playing soccer or you're racing. You're not thinking about the wheel, the stick shift, and the clutch. You're navigating. You're strategically thinking, I'm going to come up, I got it behind, but there's that corner. I know this corner. I'm going to go. You're thinking about the goal. You're thinking about getting the ball in the back of the net. You're not thinking about how you kick it. You know what I mean? So all that is prep. All that's done. You're done with your lines. You've memorized everything. It's in your cellular fabric. And all you need to do now is just show up, because the lines mean nothing at that point. It's all about what you're doing, what you're thinking, how you're reacting. And the words are just going to come out. So you don't even realize that there's no more lines, is what I mean. You're not reciting lines. You're not saying lines that were memorized. You're just not there anymore. You're having an argument with somebody, and they're your words, and it's coming out. It's like you're saying nothing at all that's in the script. Cut, print. That was word perfect, Colin. Thank you. I thought I was making it up, but I knew it so well, and the beats and the stuff, and that's when it becomes magic. That's when it becomes spark, and it's just light, man. It's an amazing feeling, because you're in the zone. You know, you're in the zone. It's zen.
What percentage of the process then is prep to make it so that it's muscle memory? So that you can show up on the day and just deliver it. Is it 80% of the process? So that you can just be reflexive and end up with the ball in the back of the net? How did it get there? I just did it.
I'm going to say it's 99% prep,
wow,
and 1% forget that you prepped.
Wow.
And that 1%, that's tough, because 99% of the work is what you're there to do. The 1% is the leap of faith, where you close your eyes and you fall backwards and you don't know if anybody's going to catch it. You have to let go. You have to let go. It's like, look, if you're doing a stage show and you're playing music, if you're thinking about your notes, that's a crappy ass show. It's now about the show. It's about what you're doing, and you're looking over the bass player and the drummer, and there's something happening, and it's live, and it may even change and then come back to the script. It'll come back to the music. But it's like, yeah, that's what you're doing, and somebody's so in the zone, everyone else is feeling it, and it's like, yeah, let's go there. But you don't know you're doing it. You only know it. Somebody just has to do playback for you. They have to tell you what you did or show you what you did. All you knew was that you were experiencing pure joy, pure creation, pure whatever, you know? So technically, you better know every single note on the guitar, because if you don't, you won't be able to eyeball that girl in the fourth row and give her a wink and see if you can get her phone number later on. So you're not playing guitar anymore. You're trying to get somebody's phone number is what your job is. So you'd better have all this done, and just it's in your bones, you know. So now you can do it, you know. You can just let's see what happens. And every now and again you're lucky, like this little finger will come down and touch a scene or touch a movie. It'll
grace you. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, and you're always praying for it. You work for it, and then it's just a matter of you need to be in a space to allow it, and it doesn't always come to visit, but I think it came to visit. He never left, and I'm so grateful for it.
I agree. Thank you for sharing it with me, and I will be posting links everywhere on Tuesday when it comes out. So I got some fan questions for you.
Cool.
All right, Lockwatcher, your take as John Pope in Falling Skies was a 180-degree turn from the more reserved Major Davis. What was it like working on this series compared to your work on Stargate? He says, parentheses, a lot of rain and cold, question mark. I'm not sure what that's a reference to.
No, yeah, well, no, we were shooting a lot more outside.
Oh, okay, well, there we go.
Versus the studio.
Yeah.
I would say it's a great question. When doing Major Davis and Stargate, I didn't know what I was doing. Well, first off, I didn't know what Falling Skies was either. But I was younger. I was happy for the job. I was giving it everything I could. I worked really, really hard on it, but I was still kind of figuring things out as an actor. I wasn't bringing myself consciously to it. I was just prepping and then doing it. Whereas with Pope, I think I was because the character was also very chill, right? And he was a thinker. And because I had the hair and the leather jacket, there was in many ways less to do. So you had to find that internal confidence, attitude, intellectual kind of stuff. And so that was more me. That was me more as a creative. That was more of a character to create. I don't think I really created Major Davis. I mean, Brad and all those guys, man, they wrote him. They know what they're doing. Put the guy in the blue suit, Air Force, and that's it. And you're good. Whereas Pope, I had to, or I was able to create something. And so that was a little bit more of me bringing my game to the table. Because again, I've always loved the characters. I didn't get into acting to meet girls. I didn't get acting to be famous. I could give a rat's ass about walking a red carpet. I don't feel comfortable in any of those situations. But acting, and all my favorite actors, Peter Sellers, Alec Guinness, Gary Oldman, Tom Hardy. I mean, these are my guys, and going way back to, I can go back to the 40s and the 30s, but I love disappearing. It's great. I don't want to be me. I get me every day. I can see me in the mirror every friggin' day of the week. So it's great to put on the costume and the makeup and to explore the world through those eyes. It's fascinating and it's wondrous. I just absolutely love it. And so the less people recognize me, the happier I am.
I've had interesting conversations with a whole bunch of you about when you put on a specific costume and a specific set of makeup, and you open your eyes, there's the character. It's right there. And I'm curious, I never really asked this. When you put those elements on, do you find your options narrowed to a specific set, or do you find your options more unlimited as a result in terms of the choices that you're going to make as a performer?
It's interesting because that's discovered once you do that. Like, sometimes many ways you have no idea who this guy is until that moment, until that's the jacket. That's the jacket. That's the wig. All right. The long haired one didn't work, but the curly one does. Or shave it. Just shave my damn head. That's the guy. Now I get it. And that's why I love it so much, because it's like this little muse that comes down and says, "This is the coat. That's the wig," or whatever the makeup is or what have you. And it's like, and it's cool. So it dictates things. I love sometimes oftentimes, and I do a lot of comedy too, but because I was limited with the size of the character, or because the dialogue just wasn't so great, I would come up with characters. Because if anybody sitting at home watching this show actually heard the words that were being said, they'd turn the damn channel and I'd look stupid. So you come up with things, to make it not boring. And oftentimes that's your job. And I got to explore characters while doing it. But it's interesting, David. So I got an audition. It's like a new LA Law, only it's out of Toronto or New York. Anyway, it was a new show. I don't know if they'll use that name, but it was the same folks. And big show, right? It was a big audition. But it was that, and I'm no good at that. And it's just not my thing. But he was a really brilliant guy. This lawyer was known. This is what he was super, super unusually intelligent. So I thought, how close to the spectrum, without actually getting into the spectrum, but how close can I make this where just add a little color He's a little off. He doesn't end things where that period is, or doesn't necessarily take a pause where that comma is. And he puts an inflection or puts importance on words that you wouldn't necessarily put it on. Anyway, and I sent that off, and the casting director, God bless her, reached out to my agent and thought that I was autistic. And she wasn't sure. Is he like, I mean, but obviously there's something going on with this particular actor. Is there something we should know? But it wasn't full blown ridiculous. It was
in the performance.
Just a thread, right? Because they weren't looking for that or anything close to that. They wanted the super confidence. I've got an IQ of 190 and I can tell you what's going on. And that is not the way I played it. So and my agent was like, can you just do it normal? Can you just give me an audition that doesn't have all this crazy shit in it? Because I'm getting heat from the casting directors. You're killing me over here. But I can't do it. Yeah. You know, and sometimes it's absolutely it's a detriment. It's to my own negative, man. It doesn't help.
Your soda machine doesn't put out all the normal flavors, you know?
But sometimes
you have a certain range of or a certain thing of content that you want to perform, otherwise you'll go nuts.
Look, I had an audition for, I didn't know what it was at the time, but God, or I kind of did, but I didn't. I hadn't seen the show. But that incredible show, Jason Bateman, he directed the pilot episode. It's still, what was it? Where he's hiding out. You know the show I'm talking about?
The one he's known for, right?
Yeah, dude, it's incredible, right? What's it called? Because I want to give him
Ozark?
Ozark, yeah. So I get an audition for Ozark, and it's a lawyer or something. And I'd already had 3 auditions for lawyers, and I'm just so bored out of my skull, and they're crap, and I'm like so done. Like an idiot. You know what I did? I did the audition, only I put a blind contact lens in my eye. Like, you know, it was too much, man.
Your agent must be like, is he screwing with me? Does he want work?
I just thought, no, I want to do him with just one eye.
Yeah.
It's like, what are you doing, you stupid ass? Because that's a hell of a show to get on, man. I would have loved it. But again, it just playing the lawyer, I don't know, give me something.
For sure.
Well, no problem playing a lawyer, but he can't just be a lawyer. He's got to have a problem, an issue. He's got to have a secret. There's got to be something else going on. And then I know what to do.
I would be afraid, I would want to do that, but part of me would be like, I'd be afraid to do that because I don't want it to come off as, this is really, guys, thanks for inviting me on, but this really is all about me. You know?
Yeah, no, fair enough. You got to walk that, but I won't send it off unless they actually think, is this guy close to the edge? Is he really blind?
Yeah.
It's really getting them to go, what? They're like,
yeah.
You know, if they don't know me, to make them wonder.
Yeah, because they're calling and saying, is this really the way that this is?
Yeah.
That is a feather in your cap for the performance.
I got like five wigs. I got dentures. I got a nose spreader. So, I mean, when I do something, if the casting director doesn't know me, and it's any good, and they check my IMDb or what have you, but but those that do, they know that I'm still putting up something. It's not a cartoon. They know it's legit. You know.
That's right.
Oh, hell, I don't know.
Thank you, Lock Watcher. Great question. Do you have a couple more minutes?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah.
Okay. Just want to make sure, because I told you 45 and we're over. Sally Whitesides.
Hey, Sally.
Hey, right? Colin, what's your favorite play? To either perform or to watch?
This is going to be a weird answer. I'm afraid to say it.
Is it Equus?
The reason I'm afraid to say it is because it's never been done.
Oh, okay. But you've read it.
There was something, I actually saw it, but it wasn't, it was for television, and it was from a very, very, very long time ago. They filmed it, and it can be done as a play. I want to do it as a stage play.
Oh.
But I don't want anybody else stealing the idea, so I'm not going to.
No, don't.
But I'm going to say, you know what? I'll go with the first play I ever saw because it blew my brains out. It was A View from the Bridge, Arthur Miller. I think I was maybe 10, maybe 9 years old. And I'd already watched everything that Cagney and Jimmy Stewart and Bob and Hope and Bing Crosby and Danny Kaye. I'd seen everything because I grew up with it. My dad would just show me these films. Anyway, I finally got to see, or you'd see a play and it would be like, Barney the Clown or some ballet that they took 9-year-old kids to and we're supposed to be fascinated by it. And you're like, this sucks, But I finally got to see a play, a dramatic play. And it was at the Lee Strasberg Theater on Melrose. I don't even know what year it was. When I saw that and all the actors, they brought it. And I was in shock, absolute shock. It was like a 3-dimensional movie. And I couldn't quite comprehend, and it was good. That's the thing. You see a good movie and you need a week to recover. No different. You see a bad movie, I need a month to recover. And the same thing with theater. Theaters, it's too bad because there's so much shit theater out there. You see one bad play, okay, I'll give it a chance. You see another bad play, and that's it. You're done. You're never going to go back. But if you actually are able to see a great play, it'll change your life. And it changed mine because I remember at the end of the film, somebody dies and the mother's bereaved. And she has a breakdown. And you could feel it. And then the play ended. And I remember, lights go down. That's it. It was clapping. And then the actors came out to take their bows. And this woman could barely do it because she couldn't break. She couldn't break from it. And I'm like, what the hell is that?
That's real.
Dude, it burned into my brain. I'm like, what the hell is this all about? Because I was old enough to know it's a play, but young enough to just get hit with it, the reality of it. And then also at the end, as affected as I was, they're actors taking bows, man, to the applause. And this woman was having trouble shaking it. And I thought, wow.
The experiences that you put before us as actors are not always fake. Sometimes they're real.
Yeah. You gotta. Yeah. Then you gotta stop acting. So you gotta pull yourself back out. Because you can't fake that stuff. Yeah. Man, if you don't feel it, I'm not gonna feel it. And if I'm not feeling it, you're not gonna feel it. It's just this bullshit. It's a lie. I didn't buy it. I didn't buy that. Whatever it was, or is in a movie or a play or what have you. So, but yeah, Arthur Miller's A View from the Bridge. Hey, you want to know something cool? I don't know if I've ever told you this, David. And I never forgot it. I never forgot this. I'm 9. God only knows how old she was. In the brochure, it was Kim Cattrall, and I think she was like 21 in it, just starting out.
She's good.
Yeah,
she was the one who had the breakdown and who couldn't shake herself out of it.
No. She played one of the younger. In fact, she couldn't have been 20. But she was young. She was young. And again, if I was 9, I don't know. Maybe Kim's maybe 10. So many years older than me. Yeah. But I remembered the name because it was fun to say, Kim Cattrall, and I wanted to remember something. One of these actors, it was Kim Cattrall, and
lo and behold.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. It's funny, Kim. If you ever see this, you got me going. You got me started in acting. Thank you.
Wow, I did not know that.
Yeah. She really, really did. That's the first, really, just kind of. And I've always wanted to tell her. I remember I was working on a movie and she was on it. And I remember, but we didn't have any scenes together. But I remember I was waiting out in front of her trailer for her to come back or to go or whatever. And she never showed up and I had to go. And then again, she was a guest at the film festival in Whistler. And I knew her driver. And he called me and says, I'm driving Kim Cattrall. I'm like, tell me where you are. I'm coming. He's like, yeah, no, she doesn't know. I'm not telling her anything. I'm like, don't tell her. Just where are you? He says, I'm at the hotel. I'm waiting for her right now. So I went down. I waited in the lobby for like 2 friggin' hours while she was up in her room. She was supposed to come down in 10 minutes. And she didn't come down, and then I had to go. So I still owe Kim Cattrall a gigantic thank you because, and I've always wanted to give it to her because I wanted to tell her that story, man. I always wanted to tell her that story. A View from the Bridge. I was 9 years old, sitting in the 7th row, and you blew my brains apart. So
wow, I saw her for the first time in Star Trek 6, and I thought she was brilliant. I thought she was so good playing. I mean, she doesn't have a lot of range as a Vulcan, you think, and then it goes places where it's like, wow, okay, she's great. I love her.
Yeah, because she was given that. Again, I didn't know you had that range. It's like because I've never given a part that I could do that,
Yeah, absolutely. Gene Deotta Smith, have you done Shakespeare, Colin? Do you want to?
I have not done any Shakespeare.
Okay.
I'm familiar.
Yeah, for sure, of course.
Yeah, no, look, he's the greatest writer. I don't even want to refer to him as a playwright. That's almost an insult. Yeah, that's a different kind of acting again.
It's a whole language.
Well, yeah, it's the whole pentameter, the iambic, and it's just, but you got to find it within really defined lines. I'm great when I can blur the lines, obliterate the lines, erase the lines, rewrite the lines. Whereas this, you're a train on a track, and you can never go off that track. How do you find it? How do you find it, and how do you make it real? Yeah, it'd be one hell of a challenge. I'd love to, but that's a lot of work too. I mean, I think when Daniel Day-Lewis was doing Hamlet, I don't know if you know the story, but
No,
I mean,
I don't.
He couldn't finish, and I don't know if they even got started, but yeah, you're playing a character who's on the verge of a nervous breakdown, if not going through a nervous breakdown, and yeah, and he that's a deep dive. That's a dangerous dive. That's a very dangerous dive.
Anthony,
with that kind of.
Anthony wanted to know, we're talking about all this intense stuff. How do you come out of it, Colin, personally? How do you unwind? How do you break away?
I'm pretty easy with it. I can. I'm not a method actor. It's just, I don't know. I don't understand it. It makes no sense to me. It's kind of stupid. And if you're going to do it for a drama or something, but it doesn't work for anything else. It's not going to work for a musical. It's not going to work for a comedy. It's not going to work. But if you get a really, really complex character, you can dig down and explore it, and it's a wonderful thing to do. It really, really is. I will say that he never left. It took some time to get out of, and that was also because I was part of. I stayed with the project and with these filmmakers, and we're looking at cuts and different things like that, and there's notes, and because what I was doing was directed towards a goal that we hadn't yet achieved. Those just came off the page. This is what we did in the room, but now we're laying it out, and I'm seeing an arc a certain way. So yeah, that took some time. I was still manic as hell, bouncing off walls on little auditions, and it was like, whoa, dude, you got to learn how to breathe again.
Right.
You got to bring it down.
So how do you unwind from that? How do you chill? Music, a movie, meditation?
David, I don't think I ever do.
You just go off it?
Well, here's the thing. It's like I just love to work. I just love to work, and and it's like I don't have the yacht. I'm not cruising to the south of France, and you're always looking for the next gig. So you got to jump. You better jump quick. And then you realize that you've brought the last guy with you on this part, and it's like, whoa, you got to clock yourself, So I don't know. I'm kind of drawing a blank. I don't know.
It's okay.
Maybe watch movies. Watch. Just watch them. Stop making them for a week, or a couple of weeks. But you're always you just never know where your next gig's coming from. So you're always either planting seeds, you're watering the ones you planted 3 weeks ago. This one's got some weeds around it, and you planted that 4-6 months ago, and then you've got a tree that is not old enough yet, and then you've got the other tree you planted 12 years ago, because that was the seed you planted then, and now you finally get to pluck an apple off of it. So it's just, it doesn't end. And you gotta, it's having the plates on the sticks. And you gotta keep them.
Yeah.
You gotta keep them all going, man. And it's and you just don't know. And the greatest thing about this business is that I have no idea what's gonna happen tomorrow. I just don't know what it's gonna be, and it's so exciting to not know. It really is an adventure. But the absolute worst is that I have no idea what's gonna happen tomorrow. I don't know if I'm going to be working, what I'm going to be working on, where I'm going to be working, how I'm going to take care of this, that, and the other thing that we all deal with, all the normal shit, right? Wow. So, but I'll take it. I'll take it over a cubicle, checking off boxes on my calendar with a Sharpie, and looking at my horoscope. What does it say today? While I'm working some bullshit job that'll kill me quicker, Or if anything, look, I'd rather die younger. and having lived something that I enjoyed doing.
If the alternative was just a malaise, yeah.
Yeah, and just never knowing what you might have done or could have done or what was possible. I'd rather fail. I'd rather fall flat on my ass. I'd rather ram my head into a friggin' door than never try. You know, it's so you don't know, and that's what it's about. You know, it's not you don't want to know. You want to not know, and then have faith and go with it and stay open to the things you don't know. Look, the best actors, the best directors I've ever worked with in my life, and I mean they're as good as anybody's ever going to get. The really, really good ones at that level, they have no idea what they're doing. And the reason they have no idea what they're doing is usually because they're attempting something that no one has ever done before. They don't know. It's like, well, how are we doing? I don't know. We've never tried this before. So they're always uncomfortable. They're always insecure. They've got faith, and they're going to figure it out. Maybe they'll fail, and they often do, but they need to take a swing at it. And that's why I got so much respect for Costner. You know, it's like there was nothing to stop him, and I still don't think there's anything to stop him. And I'm looking forward to seeing 2 come out because we shot 1 and 2. And 3 and 4, you know, I've been told they pushed it to May. I really hope that it happens. Again, I can't see anything stopping this man. He's a unique human being. But till then, I'm blessed, David. You know, I got He Never Left is coming out, right? And on Tuesday, and right now I'm working with Rob York on Curse of Crom 2. And they're good movies, and they're good people, and the movies don't suck, you know. And it's just great to be surrounded by a team of creatives and people that are into it as much as I am, you know. And it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, at the end of the day, you know, you can only be thankful to be to have the opportunity to be surrounded by people who broaden your horizons and open up new possibilities.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
for sure.
Philippe Canat, last question for you. The reboot option seems more and more probable for Stargate, just going fresh out of the gate and trying something new. Were that to happen, what character could you see yourself playing? What type of person would you see yourself playing if invited to come back to the show in this new form?
I pray sincerely that I'm wrong. I can't see how it would be possible for that show to come back. You cannot make that show today. You cannot do it. You can't talk about what they talk about. You can't look, do I have to say it? It's repulsive and disgusting that I'm saying this. They won't allow it. They won't, not as you knew it. Sure, there'll be a new one. They'll give it the name, but it won't be anything. It won't have the same themes. It won't have the same values. It won't have the same focus. It won't, Space Force? Yeah, look, you release SG, the new one now, the reboot, okay, it'll just, no, they won't do it because of the politics, because of the woke garbage shit, horse shit, smelly crap, awful, censorious. It's disgusting. It's terrible. It's destroyed creativity. And so you're not going to get a show like Stargate. I don't see it coming back as it was. You can't get a show like Friends to come back as it was. Some of the best damn shows in television will never be. They won't do anything like it. It's all paint by numbers, safe, check off all the different boxes. And if anything, it's a testament, I think, how great the Stargate was, because you had people fight to keep the bar high, to fight to keep that line true. They could have corrupted it 10 ways to Tuesday, and I'm sure the studios and pressure and all sorts of stuff. But you got, Mlazzy and Brad and I mean
Cooper,
Martin,
yeah,
Peter and Cooper, man. So it's like, I don't think anybody has any ideas. And John Smith, the battles that had to happen to keep it there. Because otherwise they bring in a bionic dog and it just becomes a Happy Meal, or it's some bullshit agenda. Instead, they really, really tried to make it right. But things today, a show based on honor, integrity, character, the right thing, trying to get, there's good guys and there are bad guys, and yet we're all learning a little bit about ourselves. You can't do that anymore. I'm sorry. So I can't even think of a character that I'd play because I can't think of a
Fandom
show.
has been having those conversations about, okay, if with the way that things are done now, what will Stargate look like? And there are a fair number of people who are like, don't even attempt, if you're not going to get it precisely right. So it's a fair point.
Well, they gotta wrap it up in something. But basically, the Air Force would certainly become the Space Force, and we can't have that. Or you just can't do it anymore. Okay, you can't unless you add all this other crap that nobody wants to see, that nobody is seeing. That they're going broke. I mean, they're losing hundreds of billions of dollars, and they don't even give a rat's ass. So, unfortunately, I don't see that happening. At least not as. I don't see a new Stargate coming out as a proper Stargate. It would just be
it'd have its name.
Yeah. It would be whatever it is. And and it's just unfortunate. But it gives us an opportunity to be grateful for what was done, when it was done, the fact that it was done, and that it's out there for the time being, until they ban it. So collect your DVDs, keep them in your library, because God only knows what you're no longer going to be able to find online anymore,
Colin, congratulations on this film. It means the world to me to be able to share and talk about it with you. I can't wait for everyone to get a chance to see it, and continued best of luck on all of your work, the work that you're doing, and the work that you're going to get, and everything in between.
Thanks, David. No, I mean, I appreciate it, because we've become friends now, and you've been there for me. You've seen and supported outside of Stargate, and so that's cool, because in many ways we're doing the same thing. We're trying to create and the things that we're passionate about and that we love, and that's a great thing about the SG community, and of course with your show, is that it cultivates that, and it supports that, and so I'm proud to be a part of it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up on this side.
All right, brother.
Thanks, man. Colin Cunningham, Major Davis in Stargate SG-1 and Atlantis. Appreciate you all tuning in. Appreciate your wonderful questions. Thanks so much to Summer and Anthony for moderating this episode. I really could not do it without my team. If you enjoy Stargate and you want to see more content like this on YouTube, do click the subscribe, the like icon. It does make a difference with the show and will continue to help us grow our audience. Please also consider sharing with a Stargate friend. And if you want to be notified about future episodes, click subscribe. And giving the bell icon a click will notify you the moment a new video drops, and you'll get my notifications of any last-minute guest changes. And clips from this stream will be released over the course of the next few weeks on the Dial the Gate YouTube channel. That's what I've got for you here in this episode. Really appreciate you tuning in. We'll have some more shows for you next week. This Tuesday is Election Day in the United States. We cover a show that talks about a military team that risks their lives going to other worlds and defending us. In the U.S. here, it is your civic duty to vote. So do it. That is all. Thanks so much for tuning in to Dial the Gate. My name is David Reed, and I'll see you on the other side.